The resignation and for purposes of retirement allows Ms. Jackie Callanen to continue her duties till after the November election and until the first of the year. But at the same time, the recommendations and the motions made today by the Election Commission will be asking Commissioners Court to proceed with a succession plan in order to do a national search, pay for the resources necessary for that, and so that we will be looking for a successor during this period of time.
If a successor is not hired by January 1st, what will happen?
Well, my response to that is that Ms. Callanen will stay and as Elections Administrator till she has a successor. Now, obviously, the Commission and I, as an attorney, would say that the statute allows us, the Elections Commission, to appoint an interim Elections Administrator if necessary, but we are confident, and with the conversations and the recognition of the work that Jackie has done, that we will have a smooth transition. We will have a succession plan that everybody will agree to, and that ultimately we will then pass on to Commissioners Court for their final approval and ratification of any decisions and recommendations made by the Elections Commission.
Jackie, you said you wouldn't do this again, but here you go. Why is that?
To start what we finished. I'm very, very proud of what we've had. And this year is going to be contentious, as we've seen just from the national media and national. And so it would be a blessing to be able to complete this and give the citizens of Bexar County a clean election like we've always done.
How do you feel about security you're getting in the county on the election?
We've talked about that. We are going to be meeting on that. It has changed. The landscape has changed, Brian. We know that. We're well aware of that. And that's one of our big goals.
How many elections have you overseen in 19 years?
Well, there's a count on my wall, and the last time we looked at it, it was 358. But that's with all the cities and the schools and the MUDs and the water districts.
Who do you, I'm sorry.
Would y'all talk about the challenge of finding somebody who can satisfy everybody up here, both parties' chairs?
I'll pass to the chairs. Ms. Coons?
Well, am I allowed to discuss a little bit we discussed?
Yes.
The national search and I think a thorough vetting and being able to talk to different people. I think that we'll all come to an agreement of some sort of finding. It'll be difficult to find someone to replace her, but I'm sure we'll find somebody that will get along with everyone.
And well, what I would add is that myself and the Republican chair have, through the years, worked alongside Jackie, so we know the intricacies and the difficulties that she is under and the positions that she holds throughout. So I think understanding a little bit about what it takes in running the election will give the two of us at least an idea of who we're looking for and what we need.
But it is correct that you waited until a new Republican chair was installed to hold this meeting?
Correct.
Because
I think that was the proper and reasonable process to do, was that the outgoing Republican chair was obviously, after the last meeting, was lame duck. And I wanted to make sure that the Republican Party was represented by the duly elected party official, the Republican chair, so that she can speak in behalf of her party. Just as Ms. Monica Alcantara has been reelected now, and I don't know how many terms, 4 terms. And so we rely on our party chairs to represent their particular respective political parties, so that hopefully we will truly have the best qualified person to succeed and fill the shoes that Ms. Jackie Callanen has had for over 3 decades of service.
Jackie, one of the last times that I had spoken
Hi,
to
Jackie.
you, how's it going? One of the last times I had spoken to you, you said you still had plenty left to give, but you always seem to go back and forth, I think, after an election's wrapped up. Are you ready to walk away?
Yes, yes. I'm very, very proud of the record. And, you know, as you said, when you finish a presidential election, like everyone keeps saying in 2020, everyone's exhausted. Everyone. And I think that's the piece that's missing, is that so many people assume that I have a large department. There are only 21 of us to take care of 1.2 million registered voters. And the hours that the staff puts in, they're the unsung heroes. The staff just does a fantastic job. And again, it goes to them, but when it's over, everyone needs to take a break.
When did this decision kind of come to you? When did you kind of finalize the decision? I know when we spoke back in January, it still seemed like you didn't have one made, but when did you inform Judge Sakai of what you were going to do?
In our numerous meetings.
But like, when? Was it last week, a month ago? I mean, has this been something you?
In a couple weeks.
A couple weeks ago?
Are there any goals for you in this last run?
To do exactly what we've been doing, to give the citizens and the voters of Bexar County and the state of Texas an excellent election.
Was a lot of the reason to stay in office to keep voter confidence in these upcoming elections, not having a change right before.
That's the sense of it. Again, we know the lay of the land and the locations, and we know procedures, and we know and work with the parties well to get the election officials and all of that it entails to put on a major election.
How many other election administrators do you know that have been in service for 19 years or more?
I have to think about that one.
You had to sit through some criticism from some folks prior to making this announcement. Do you wish that you had announced your retirement plans earlier, decided to retire earlier?
Again, no. I mean, from my standpoint, I wanted to see this November election through. It was uppermost to be able to continue to give everyone the election they deserve.
And let me add, I felt as chair of the Elections Commission that obviously the duty and responsibility to replace Jackie is a big one, as I've already stated. But I have always felt, and continue to this day, Jackie Callanen is entitled to the dignity and respect as a public servant who has served the county well. And I wanted to make sure that if and when, and she has made that official today, and the commission has accepted it, that we are on a path to make sure that we get somebody who's prepared to deal with the challenges. And Ms. Callanen has shared with us that there are many, many issues, from security of her employees to the security of the facilities to the space needs, to the challenges that some of you heard today from the public in regards to the election integrity. So this commission still has a lot of work to do, but I think we did not want to disregard that the work that Ms. Jackie Callanen has done. And I think we accomplished that. And quite frankly, she and I have had really great conversations of what we need to do. There are a lot of budget issues that we're going to have to look at from a commissioner's court perspective.
This is about a simple retirement, right? It's for somebody put in 19 years.
Correct.
Correct, it's time.
Do you foresee it remaining involved in elections in any forms? That, like, will we see you as
A voter. I'll continue that, Molly.
What kind of qualities are you looking for in the next administrator?
Well, somebody that will maintain election integrity, somebody that has the depth and knowledge of election laws. And what's quite clear is that we will need to find a person who has the extraordinary ability to communicate and to be able to hear all the different views. It's quite remarkable that, and I think the two chairs reflected, that we had people on both parties that had some criticism and critiques of our elections administrator. And so we're going to have to, and I know that each commission member were taking notes, that they were listening to all those public voices, those citizens to be heard, and we're going to take that all into consideration. And I'm looking at my commission members that we need to make sure that we find a person who will address all those different voices in regards to the way we conduct our elections in Bexar County.
Time for one last question. And Judge, did you want to mention when the next election board meeting is?
Oh, let me, and I did do that. Perhaps I want to make it on the record that we will have a election board meeting on July 8th. And so that y'all understand, let me help the public understand. The election board's focus is different from the election commission. The board is responsible for appointing the presiding judge and members of the early voting ballot board, the chair and members of the early voting signature verification committee, and approving procurement of election supplies and necessary for the general election. I believe the two party chairs and myself also belong as members of the board, along with the sheriff and Ms. Jacquelyn Callanen, who serves as the chair of the election board. The election commission meeting was here to deal with the status of Ms. Callanen's position as elections administrator. So I hope that y'all understand that. And then, as you heard in the open meeting, I will be asking the commission to reconvene to discuss, once I get approval from Commissioners Court on the financing of a search, how we have to sit down and develop the parameters and guidelines as to the type of person that we're looking for.
Jackie, has the mess already started that you saw in 2020? Like, are you getting threats?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Talk about any of those?
No, sir, I prefer not to, but they're coming fast and furious.
Already?
Yes, sir.
I would like to add
One more
that,
question.
regardless of who we select, our ultimate goal is to increase voter participation. When we're having 7%, 3%, 12%, that's not acceptable. So we need to increase our numbers, and a lot of it comes obviously from our party chairs, from the elected officials, but it also comes from the elections administrators. So that is paramount in what I will be looking for to try to increase voter participation.
Jackie, if someone is not hired come January 5th, which seems extremely unlikely, do you prefer to stay until a replacement is hired, or do you prefer for an interim to be appointed?
Again, that will be up to the commission. That will not be my choice.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.